Hey, this is Mark A. Altman, and we are the Inglorious Treksperts. No, actually, in this case, we're the Inglorious Trekspert. Darren and Ashley have been sent to the cornfield. Actually, I prefer to think of it as they're on secret assignment somewhere in the neutral zone. I don't want to say the cornfield. Charlie X has blinked them out of existence. But anyway, we're trying something different today on the show. We're going to commemorate the third season premiere of Strange New Worlds, airing on Paramount Plus. Which included the finale of the second season cliffhanger. You notice I'm not saying what it's called because I keep messing up that word. Hegemony. Oh, well, that's not too bad. As well as the return of a classic TOS character in Wedding Bell Blues. I will not tell you what I thought of that. Okay, 30 years ago, when I was editor of Sci-Fi Universe, I took great pride in speaking truth to power. Got me in a lot of trouble. Where other publications in the genre were glorified press releases, I like to think we told it like it was. It was snarky, it was critical, it was acerbic, right? You guys were around for that. That was like 5 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Five years.
Yeah, exactly. And it was pretty fracking great. But times have changed, and with the emergence of the internet, social media, and the Trump administration, everything is so damn negative. Everything sucks. So Darren, Ashley, and I decided rather than do a Strange New Worlds episode in which the Treksperts did their deep dive into the show, we turned the podcast over to people who are well qualified but loved the show. And that's what we try and do on this show. We try to celebrate the love. I know sometimes people feel maybe the love isn't there, but there is a lot of love for Star Trek in all its forms. We know a lot of you out there adore the show. We recognize and acknowledge that fact. So we're turning it over to some people I really trust and whose opinion I really value. In this case, I disagree with them, but that's okay. It's okay. We'll let them share their passion and excitement for the series. And hopefully you can all enjoy your mutual love for the show together. And I'll just sit there and scratch my head. So with that said, I'm going to introduce our amazing group of Trek enthusiasts and turn the show over to this cadre of diehard Strange New Worlds fans, starting with one of the stars of Free Enterprise. No, not one of the stars of Free Enterprise. She is a longtime TV showrunner, producer. She's worked on such shows as Farscape, The Vampire Diaries. She ran Haven, Kay just brought out a cat, Jones. And Grey's Anatomy. I mean, you name the show, Gab's worked on it. And of course, she's now working on Saving the World a Lot. Yes, indeed. I'm talking about the new Buffy the Vampire Slayer, or Buffy, or whatever they're calling it. We're so excited that you're on that show. It's just great. I wish you weren't Star Trek, but Buffy's the next best thing. So welcome, Gabrielle Stanton.
Thank you. I am also very excited to be on Buffy. And yes, Star Trek would also be good. So anyone listening out there, I've got some time in between seasons. So
Didn't you work with Henry Alonzo Myers, in the interest of full disclosure, on something?
I did a million years ago. But yeah, no, he's doing a great job. Well, we'll talk about what a great job he's doing in a little bit.
He's the co-showrunner with Akiva Goldsman on Strange New Worlds. And then in this corner, she's worked on a ton of great shows also. Everything from Millennium to the Twilight Zone reboot to the wonderful Shining Veil on Stars to Swamp Thing. They were showrunner with her writing partner Aaron Mart on Freaked. They've done it all. They've been there. I'm missing a ton of shows. I didn't bring my notes for this. I'm doing this from memory. It's Kay REINDL.
Thank you for mentioning a couple of the good shows. We really appreciate that.
It's my pleasure. That's what I'm here for. That's all I'm here for today. That's all I'm here for. And of course, a new addition, one of our new fans. She is going to be at Star Trek Las Vegas. She's doing a panel of Trek conventions because, of course, she was the subject of a great article in Vanity Fair a couple of years ago about new Trek fans, and she's making her triumphant return to Star Trek Las Vegas. And also, were you a film or a TV major at NYU? Was that your bag? Okay, yeah. There you go. So you qualify. Fantastic. So this is great. And I apologize that we were hoping to have Ed Gross here with us as well, my partner in crime on the 50-year mission books, but unfortunately he couldn't be here. But he's with us in spirit, like the friendly angel, like Marvin Belli. So okay, I'm going to turn it over to you guys. The new season premiere kind of, it's been hailed as the best of both worlds, resolving this big cliffhanger from the last season. Tell me, did it deliver for you guys?
How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and Auto Camp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
The McDonald's snack wrap is back. You brought it back. Ranch snack wrap. Spicy snack wrap. You broke the internet for a snack. Snack wrap is back. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
You open the Walmart app and boom! The Reebok and Hanes styles that keep your kiddos on their A game delivered in as fast as an hour. That's right, those comfy Hanes Performance Crew socks they love in the app. And the coolest shirts, shorts, hoodies, and leggings from Reebok? Yep, Walmart's got them. They'll feel so focused in their new gear they won't even notice you freaking out on the sidelines. Shop Reebok and Hanes in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new. Subject to availability, fees, and restrictions apply.
I thought it did. I was really impressed by it. I mean, I thought it looked great. I think they spent an enormous amount of money on it, which I appreciate in today's TV landscape. And I thought it really, brought the story home. It's so frustrating now, and I was glad the way they kind of aired it. It's so frustrating now because you leave something on a cliffhanger and 2 years go by before you see it again. So you're kind of forced to go back and watch it because I'm like, I've seen 80 other shows between then and now. So, seeing them as like a unit is something we didn't really get to do kind of back in the day. And I think, I was very happy with it.
Yeah. What about you, Kay?
Yeah, I really liked it too. I thought it was a very satisfying conclusion. They had a lot of balls in the air at the end of the season, and I thought that they really were able to catch them all. I thought it was really satisfying. And for me, the show really lives or dies by the characters, and I thought that all the characters were really well serviced in this.
Yeah. And ZAZIE, it sounds like a lot of love for the season premiere. What about you?
Yeah, no, I really loved the premiere. In particular, I really loved the redesign of the Gorn and sort of the expansion of the Gorn universe. Like the Gorn ship inside of it and the like giant digestion chamber was so cool. So yeah, I really enjoyed it a lot.
It seemed like there was a big influence of Alien and The Matrix on that. Did you feel that was the case, or did this strike you as a really original science fiction concept?
I mean, I don't know if it was original, but I don't know if it needed to be either. I think that it's sort of in conversation with other things. And I still thought it was pretty rad. So
it kind of like, for me, it had a little bit of the Cronenberg movie Existenz. If you've seen that, it was very organic. Everything about the Gorn was very organic. There were no, sharp edges or shiny metal or anything like that. It was a little also sort of seemed to be inspired by the Cylons on Battlestar Galactica, the recent like 40 years ago now. But yeah, I really appreciated that. Obviously, they used a lot of goo and gunk on those poor actors.
There's definitely a kind of an alien feeling about it, like no question, and a little bit of the Matrix in terms of like the pods and stuff. It's funny. That's the first thing I thought was like, oh my God, it's like a very organic like Matrix machine.
Are you happy? Because, obviously a lot of these new shows have much bigger budgets than Star Trek ever had. Star Trek was always a bargain basement franchise. Not so much the original, which was pretty pricey for its time. People forget that. But the movies, other than Star Trek: The Motion Picture, which was basically Cleopatra, $43 million in 79, but everything since was, how little can we spend on a Star Trek movie? But these shows are big, expensive shows. Are you seeing it on screen, and do you feel that helps the storytelling, or it's not necessary? What do you think, Kay?
I'm gonna put a pin in part of that because it's for the next episode, but I'm of two minds with it. The show looks ridiculous. It looks better than most movies. The way that they fill the screen is so gorgeous, and there's just so much imagination that goes into that. On the other hand, I don't really need it. Like, that's not what draws me to the show. It's the characters and it's the storytelling that draw me to the show. So I would rather have a show with a real budget where you could make, 22 episodes a year and not be off the air for 2 or 3 years between seasons. I think that's killing television.
I totally agree, because I think the streamers in particular feel that people have come to expect a certain cinematic quality, which, sure, great. But it really is all about the characters. We fell in love with a show that had, the doctor shaking a salt shaker at someone and being like, "You are cured," and we loved that show. Doctor Who is like a huge example of this. We all watched Doctor Who when it literally was a garbage can chasing the doctor around.
Not all of us.
So some of us. and ever since it's been on Disney Plus, they got a big boost in their budget. But it did not make the storytelling any better. It didn't change the way we love the characters or dislike the characters. So I totally agree with Kay. Like, if you could just make it for a few $1 million less and I could get 13 episodes or, 14 episodes out of that year, I think that would be well worth it. And I think if you're not a fan of this genre and a fan of this show and willing to use your imagination, you're probably not watching it in the first place.
Yeah.
I do really love the original, like, low budget look of the 60s television show. Like, there's that iconic, like, dog in a, like, mane with a horn on it. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the enemy within, yes. This still is the Treksperts. We may be doing a Strange New Worlds episode, but it's still the Treksperts.
Yeah.
Yes, we know what the dog is.
That is like that kind of special effects is like my bread and butter. I love stuff like that. But also, like when I go back and watch like the animated series from the 70s, like they often have these very, big grandiose ideas for aliens and planets and stuff. And I think it's kind of cool that they now have the budget to potentially, like, make those kinds of universes in, like, real life, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't think I love it or hate it. I think that I think it works, but I think like the budge look.
I think where that expensive budget really hurts the show in terms of from a production point of view is you end up with a situation where you're going to get 5 episodes for the last season rather than 10, rather than 20, and I would ask, and again, I don't want to really be part of this conversation. I've been very clear about that fact. But I do feel like in the 26 episode seasons, what was so interesting is that Star Trek could do many different types of stories, but you get the bread and butter sci-fi stories. And so far, and maybe that's not going to be true of the whole season, it seems these are all like a lot of very high concept-y stories. And that there wasn't the equivalent of like just a straight up sort of sci-fi adventure, right? Where they're just on a mission.
You can't do it. When you're doing 10 episodes for, I don't know, $30 million an episode, every episode has to be a movie, which I hate. Like, movies and TV are two different things. With the 26 episode season, 5 of them are just going to suck. Yeah. And that's fine. That's fine. You've got, all of these, and for the writers and for the actors and for the crew, you're solving problems. They're not solving problems on a show where they've got, a month to shoot an episode and all that money. It's just not the same to me. I mean, yeah, every episode of the show should be amazing. And that's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the best episodes of television, like, and I wish I could come up with like a really good example right now, but I'm sure one of you will, comes out of problems. Like, you found out, like, I actually got one. Like, on Haven, our lead actress got pregnant. and we had to like figure out how to kind of work around that in a way. And you're sitting there in the room, like, how do we do that? And we ended up coming up with this, like, I think, super cool storyline where we like kind of stuck her in a barn, in an alternate reality while we did other stuff. And we never would have come up with that if we were not trying to solve a specific problem.
Yeah.
And as Kay says, every problem has been solved a year out when you have all your scripts before you even roll camera.
Yeah.
It's so, this is going to be a little bit of a sigh, we're serpentine a little from the main conversation, but what you bring up is so interesting because we've all worked on really low budget sci-fi and fantasy and genre. Kay worked on, obviously with Freak, you had a very low budget. But, a couple of shows you had, you just didn't have much in the, I think about your first run syndicated show, Legend of the Seeker, right? You had like no money.
And really the only show we've ever been on that had a budget was Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing, right.
The only show where we didn't, we did have to worry about things, obviously. We did have to cut stuff out, but it was not nearly to the extent that we've had to do it on other shows. And I think it's a skill that people aren't learning because they don't have to write to budget. They don't have to talk to the line producer who's like, we have 87 scenes in this episode. You need to cut 30 of them, and I just don't think that it helps the storytelling, honestly, to have that much freedom, which is weird.
I agree. I had the same thing with Pandora. And I think a lot of great stuff came out of having no money. Of course you always want more, but it does make you, it can make you more creative and come up with better solutions by not just being able to, show the ship crashing into other ships and building all these, sets and giant egg chambers and all that kind of stuff. When, I always look at and I've said this before, if any of you have read the book about the making of Game of Thrones, which is a terrific book, if you haven't read it, you should read it. They talk about how the episodes, which were, extremely expensive shows, would come in short. And so what they do, they'd film these two-handers, like in the throne room with two characters, and inevitably those would be the most interesting scenes, right? And Next Gen did that too. Next Gen, even though it wasn't a particularly expensive show, would sometimes come in short, and some of the best scenes were the scenes where they just had to get it to time.
Yeah.
That's when you can do the character work and you have room to breathe. Kind of off, what we're saying about the 10 episodes versus like 13 or 22 is you just don't have those small episodes, those just episodes that allow you to just take a breath, kind of, and just, enjoy something on a very.
You can't have like The Offspring or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. Or the Drumhead.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think they'd ever try anything like, Spectre of the Gun, where it's like, the surreal nature of the Western town comes out of production limitations, as well. Some people might say that's a good thing, but I love Spectre of the Gun. So there. Totally. I want to ask you, and there's so many bottle shows. We could list a ton of bottle shows that we all love that came out of limited budget. Skin of Evil, not Skin of Evil. Shades of Grey not being one of them, of course.
Well, that's different. That's a clip show. That's not a bottle show. It's a whole different character.
Shot in 3 days, which is what you had on VIP, right? Right, Gab?
Actually, the only time I've ever shot a show in 3 days was, again, an episode of Haven. And actually, we came in a little short, but we actually did. And I never even want to tell people we did that because I'm convinced that, studios will find me and be like, can you do my show in 3 days? And the answer is no. No show should ever be done in 3 days.
I can't remember what we did on Freakish. I think it was 4. I think it was 4 days. It was a half hour, obviously, but boy, did we have to make up some stuff.
We did an episode of Pandora in 3 days, but that's why I had the DP direct it. It made it go so much quicker. And it still was like, I'm sure we did pickups and it was just, nearly impossible. And he was like, thanks for giving me my directing break, but fuck you, And he wasn't wrong. So let's talk about characters, because we just alluded to characters. Tell me about, well, I'm going to start with Gab. Obviously, Captain Kirk is so important to you for so many reasons. Does Anson Mount as Captain Pike speak to you in the same way, or is it other characters that you find intriguing in the show that you're excited about?
I'm excited about a lot of the characters, but I think it does live and die a little bit on Pike. I think Anson Mount has really kind of combined like the best of Captain Kirk and kind of the best of Captain Picard in like one captain. And it's kind of like a joie de vivre that he brings to the captaincy that I think Shatner kind of really did. Like you felt like Captain Kirk was going through, stuff, but he always just seemed to have like a good time doing it. And he was just going to go out there and do it. They both also have amazing hair. They did back then, at least. But there's just something about the way he kind of leads his crew that in this day and age, like I just love leadership like this. Like just like a small, like tiny little thing. But in the premiere, when he found out that Christine Chapel was still alive, he comes in and gives her like a big bear hug, like a sustained, like a friend would do bear hug, and he wasn't like, well, I guess I can't do that because I'm the captain. He's like, oh my God, we almost died. I'm going to give you a hug. And I don't know. I just let that moment just make me happy. The show makes me happy.
If I don't have a tongue when this podcast is over, it's because I'm biting it so hard.
I know.
Okay.
I'm telling you, in 2025, we need stuff like this. We need these characters. I'll tell you one thing that really I thought set the tone for the whole season was in this day and age of having to, do something shocking every week, spending all this money, whatever. The fact that every character made it through that premiere, I was sure they were going to kill someone. Every other show would have killed someone. I mean, like, Erica, like, I was like, she's doomed. Okay, she's going to die on the console. We're going to come back. There's going to be like a beautiful funeral. They'll like, shoot her coffin out. It's going to be really sad.
Amazing Grace.
No, everyone freaking lived. And I was like, that I hope is setting the tone for the kind of like hope and optimism that you just don't really see in these shows anymore, that just want to kill off everyone as soon as they can.
For shock value. It's literally not for any other reason. Like all of these characters earn their survival.
Mm-hmm.
Every single character. And I love every character on the show. I really do. They've all gotten little stories here and there. Some of them obviously bigger stories than others, but God, I don't care who's in a scene. Like I just love them all. And I want to say too, with Anson Mount, in the premiere, I don't think has ever been better.
Yeah.
He was really good, and it was sort of a different performance for him because he had to react to so much stuff. And he did such a great job of showing, he'd be sitting there and he'd be thinking, and you could see him working through the stuff like, okay, we're screwed. I'm the one who has to figure this out. And I just thought he did an amazing job. And then the breakdown scene that he had with Patel, and I was really knocked. I've always liked him as Pike, but I was really knocked out by how he played the character in that episode.
ZAZIE, it seems like they're really teeing up Ortegas as a popular character that they haven't done much with, that they're trying to do a lot more with her this season. Is that a character that kind of speaks to you that you're excited about? And who are some of the characters that have you excited in this ensemble?
Yeah, well, I mean, about Ortegas, I mean, she was totally badass in that episode. I mean, like, she's literally dying while flying this Gorn ship. I mean, I thought that was really cool. But honestly, I feel like I think my favorite character this season so far has honestly been young Scotty.
He's adorable.
He's adorable, and it's really hilarious to me that in the premiere they gave him the exact same dilemma that he has in the original series, which is just like a time limit, and he's like, nope, can't do it in that time. And it's just like, I don't know, I just thought that was really funny. Very in keeping with his character. But yeah.
What are some of the other characters that you guys really dig? Obviously
like Chapel, I just love her. I love her. I love her push. I love the character. I love all of the, the issues that she's dealing with, the way she plays it. There's this like sort of dualism to her a little bit. And I was like a villain during the X-Files because I am not a shipper at all. I want her and Spock to be together. They know it's great shit. but I want it. I love them together. I love the relationship that they've developed. And I just love how she relates to other people. She's definitely a favorite of mine.
I
Yeah.
love the relationship. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say they kind of took like the most boring character from the original series and made her like one of the most interesting characters in this series. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. So go ahead.
Well, it is interesting. Oh, go ahead again.
No, now I'm doing it again. No, I just her and Mbanga, I think, is amazing, and he's a character that was like not even like barely in the first, the first time around in the first season, and now I'm fascinated by him and his history and their history together and everything.
Oh my God. I mean, just starting out the series with his daughter, that was so different. And it's funny because I've been, after having obviously been in Strange New Worlds, going back and seeing the Chapel episodes of original series. It's so funny how they have just been like, oh, we'll take that and we'll take that. They have found these little moments in the original series to bring to this character. I just love that.
I haven't done that yet. Now I have to do that because I'll be looking at every single one. Because I would like to think that the writers did that and really mined through, like, her characters to take those little Easter egg moments out of it.
I think they did because I've seen a number of I just put Pluto TV on and just Star Trek running all the time, and there's so much stuff that they have taken for Chapel, for this Christine Chapel. That was a sight gag, ladies and gentlemen.
I know, kids see sight gag. But even like bringing like Robert April in, I mean, I just love they bring in all these like characters, that if you don't know who they are, you're like, okay, great, there's a new admiral. But if you do, you're like, wait a minute, what's that? I don't know. I just think that's really fun. And they haven't really blown any character yet. I'm sure there'll be one where you're like, okay, no, that's off mark. But so far they've been really pretty good about it.
Yeah, and really judicious about when they bring people, and they're not just kind of throwing stuff in like some other shows would do.
Go ahead, Zazie.
Oh no, I just wanted to say I also really love La'an. I think she's probably one of my favorite characters in Strange New Worlds. I think she's so complex, and I think I always kind of adore the emotionally stunted character in each Star Trek series that I watch. But I just think that she's so lovely. And has such an interesting backstory.
Yeah, and her sort of the conclusion to her Gorn arc, I thought. I thought they really landed that.
One of the characters you haven't talked about is number 1, which was Majel Barrett, played in the original Cage. Any thoughts about Rebecca Romijn as number 1?
I really like her. One of the things that I really, really like is her relationship with Pike. I think they have a fantastic captain, first officer relationship. I think she compliments him. There's just this sort of ease to their friendship. And I really, really like that. And I think she's, we've seen her, she's kind of the straight arrow, and we've seen her sort of bust out like we did last season with her and La'an. Where La'an said, what was it, the enemy of fun?
Yeah.
She got so offended, and then La'an's just like, wait, you are fun. I like her. I like seeing those characters who are so buttoned up just kind of stretched a little bit.
She's tricky because I feel like I want to say she's underutilized, but I don't know if she is. But maybe it's just because she is such a straight-laced. It seems to be harder for them right now to kind of find as much to do with her.
Yeah. I think, she had her big episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would have been easy also to have her do a romance with Captain Pike. And I really like that they didn't go that route. I think they work so much better as like a team and friends. And I think that that's a kind of relationship that you don't see very often in television. So,
yeah.
And then there's also, who else is in the ensemble? There's
Spock, obviously.
So Spock. So look, obviously Spock is a character that everyone has an emotional investment in, no pun intended, because it's a beloved character that has spanned many iterations of Star Trek. How do you feel about Ethan Peck's performance and what they've done with the character? Because they've obviously taken a lot of liberties on what Leonard did with the character. Okay, you're nodding along.
it's interesting because he really is young Spock.
Yes.
That's really the sense that I get, is that he's not Spock with gravitas yet.
Hmm.
And he's a little insecure. There's a moment at the beginning of the second episode where Chapel's coming back and he's so excited in his way. And he's at his closet and he's holding up the same uniform tunic to see which one would look better. There's those moments for him I really, really like, just those moments of insecurity. So, like he's not quite baked yet. He's not that Spock who's really going to be the first officer for Kirk. And I like him a lot. I think he also has a great comedic sense, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're exactly right. He's playing it. You can see like the seeds of what the later Spock will be. You can see like how, he probably like started to shut down a little bit because, he was so vulnerable. And so you had, so much emotional stuff going on with this crew. And so instead of, it feels like he's along the road to finding himself, and that this is the first part of his journey. And I thought he and T'Pring, like season 2, were hilarious. I thought they were great.
Hilarious.
I mean, it made, I did go back and watch Amok Time like after that, and I was like, oh God, if only that had been like that actress, it would have been like me.
They were so great together.
They really were.
Now you talked about, the satisfaction of watching Hegemony, which was kind of teed up to be like the best of both worlds, or Strange New Worlds, this big cliffhanger, that you'd have to wait all summer, which turned out to be multiple years to see the resolution. How did it compare for you to sort of that anticipation, excitement, execution of Best of Both Worlds?
I mean, it's different because it's a different time. So I think as an audience, we're used to that. We're used to big cliffhanger, oh, well, let's see how the characters get out of it. I think one of the funny things about it is that they basically use the same beat. And I was like, well, I mean, okay.
Homage. It was an homage.
Homage, yeah.
I think it's different because, then what? We had 3 months. You saw it and you were like, oh my God, Best of Both Worlds. Like, oh my God, what's going to happen, Picard? What's going to happen? And then you like waited, and then like, like a month, you got your TV guide and it told you what day the show was going to be coming out. And, you got ready and you had your stuff and you were all set to go. And probably they reran like, some of the episodes and the cliffhanger again, so you could be prepared. Here, and look, obviously I'm here. No one loves Star Trek more than me. The premiere, you're like accidentally like, oh, there's a billboard. Oh, I guess Strange New Worlds is coming back.
I can't stand
Did
it.
I like that
I can't
show?
stand the fact that they hide everything from us.
Yeah, you don't like, they don't rev it up, or maybe they do rev it up, but you have to be in like such like very specific like outlets or something to hear about it. So you kind of find out about a week ahead of time, and then you're like, crap, I better go like, watch some old episodes or something. You just don't have that sense of like anticipation that you have.
We're not going to find out who shot JR.
No.
But let's ask ZAZIE, because ZAZIE, presumably, and I know what the answer is, you were not old enough to have seen Best of Both Worlds in its first run cliffhanger. So all this is a little bit, unique for you. How did you come across? Did it mean as much when you were watching in the syndication package, and it's just 2 episodes that air in the middle of hundreds of other episodes?
I mean, I guess I don't really have anything to compare it to, like I wasn't like, you just mentioned Who Shot JR. Like the only reason I know what it is because my mom told me. So like I'm aware of these cultural moments, but I don't know what it's like to, anticipate a TV show like that. The same way. But I don't think that, I mean, I'm still very excited to watch things, and I do really like having all of Star Trek at my fingertips, like that's a fun part of streaming for me, at least. So yeah, that's not much of an answer, but
no. I you know what? I do want to ask you a generational question, if you don't mind, because I will tell you, again, from my perspective, something that you pointed out that you guys all loved, is Pike struggling to make a decision and involving his crew and coming up with the answers and everybody spitballing a solution, is something I don't like. I like the original Star Trek where the captain has the answers and occasionally has to turn to the crew for supplemental information, but is decisive and knows what they're doing. But that is what I grew up with. Now, as someone from a different generation where everything is much more talked out and much more shared and everybody has something of value to add to the conversation, you know, I wonder how you react to, say, that teaser, you know, where, you know, Spitfire, everybody's, you know, has something to add, even the characters, I don't know what their names are, but, you know, as opposed to like original Star Trek where it's much more, you know, like the Navy and like the captain is making the decisions and the crew is pushing the buttons.
You know, I don't know if I agree that that's how how the former Star Trek series were, because I think it was always about like found family, you know, and there was always so much discussion going on amongst the crew. And I know what you mean about like, you know, sort of being on the bridge and like in those sort of like last minute moments, having people like contribute to the conversation and stuff. But I did actually really enjoy that that scene in the premiere where he's asking, I don't even remember who's on the bridge, but it's Uhura and Number One, and he's asking them all for like ideas. And I thought that was actually a really well done scene. It felt like suspenseful. I also loved that they were all women, and you know they were telling this the captain, who's a man, what to do. And I mean, it didn't feel like, you know, people talking things through in like a feelings sort of way. It felt more like brainstorming as friends or as a found family. And I think that's what Star Trek is, you know, fundamentally about, is that like camaraderie. So
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it is about
much in
family.
spirit. Yeah.
That's great.
Well,
Let me ask
Mark,
you.
hold on, Mark, because you were forgetting a lot of the Kirk and Spock huddle by the railing there. You know, and Kirk kind of comes over, he's like, so what do you think, Spock? I mean, we had a lot of those during the
When he needs information, but he's not going to war with the Klingons and saying, let's stop and talk about this and what do people think we should do, because I'm not really sure. Maybe you have some ideas. Anyway, again, I don't want this to be about what I think. It's about what you love. And to that effect, you said, but I am very interested in, you know, I just had to ask ZAZIE that because that's something that I really feel is perhaps generational, but you know, it obviously doesn't bother you, so maybe it's not. Maybe it's generational.
Maybe. I also felt that it's his command style, as opposed to, you know, Kirk has a different command style and Picard obviously has a different command style. So I think it's really more about his command style in that moment.
But I still never feel like it's a democracy when Pike is on the bridge. You know? I never feel that. Even if he's asking for people's opinions, he's going to keep his own counsel and he's going to do what he wants.
Which he did, where he would hear something about no, and it's just like when you're in a writer's room and people are pitching ideas, you know, and it's the showrunner who goes that one.
Yeah, but you know, as much as it may feel that way to us, a writer's room is not a life or death situation. When your writer's room's not about to blow up. Okay, so I got a question, because you talked about the characters and you said they've been very judicious in bringing back classic characters. So I do want to talk to you about the return of Roger Corby, played by James Gregory in the original. Very different looking guy, obviously, and of course Rhys Darby, who returned in the role of Trelane in the second episode of the season. Gab, what was your feelings about seeing them back?
First of all, I thought he actually, I mean, obviously William Campbell passed, you know, many, many years ago, but I felt like, who was the actor who portrayed Trelane in the original series, but
William Campbell.
I'm sorry, what did I say?
You know, you said who portrayed in the original series, William Campbell, yeah.
And he passed away a while ago, but this actor, Rhys, I thought did a really good, like, it could have been him kind of in a weird way, like, you know, with different color hair and makeup. I thought he did a really good job. The funny thing though was, like, it happened, I kind of knew immediately like what was going on, but kind of in a good way. I will say, I don't think this was the best of the episodes. I felt like, you know, they were grasping and trying a little bit too hard for that one, but I thought he gave a great performance. I thought it was really fun. It was, again, an Easter egg bringing back to us I don't want to spoil who the father's voice was, but I found that kind of thrilling. So
Let me just say, I just want to say this because I'm very interested in hearing what Kay and Zazie have to say. Did it feel like the right second episode of the season? I think, as you know, as people who've all run shows, we know that the arc of the season, and I'm not talking about even serialized shows, but where episodes go and how you build up the first half of the season and the second, it felt to me like if this was, it needed to be later in the season, that it was not a second episode of the season episode because of its frivolousness. Mm-hmm. And I'm not using that as a pejorative, even though maybe I would if we were having a conversation about it. But just saying that it did not feel like should be the sophomore episode of the third season, which is because remember, what was, the second episode of Next Gen? I guess it was Ensigns of Command. I don't know. Who Watches the Watchers? I don't know.
Episode of Next Gen, was it Naked Now?
Yes,
well, Naked Now is the second episode, which is probably not a good paradigm to follow because, of course, the first season was such a mess. Yeah. But I'm talking about the third season. But again, even that, it's not really relevant. But it just felt like not a second episode, or the best served by making that the second episode.
I mean, they're good. One of the things that I do like about the show is the tonal shifts, because I haven't seen that so much, and every show seems to be like you're wading through mud, basically. Mm-hmm. The episode's dark and it's heavy, and maybe there's a clever line here or there, but there's been this trend towards very dark and heavy TV when it's prestige TV. Sure. And I like that this show is lighter on its feet that way. But I do think, they obviously they needed to reset. And they wanted to do the 3 months because you need to get Chapel back. You can't, go without that. And they wanted to bring Corby in. And I think they just thought this is the best way to do it. I don't necessarily think it was. I don't think that it gave the triangle enough space. And it was, kind of weirdly frenetic, not necessarily always in a good way. I really, really
it was a whimsical farce, wasn't it?
It was. And, it's like, well, maybe your noise is off episode shouldn't be the second episode after you wrap up the cliffhanger. But I do appreciate that they knew they wanted to do that 3-month jump and kind of catch us up a little, but we didn't get that as much because we were so into this fake wedding. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was, I probably would have argued against it. I definitely read us, so I don't,
You feel the whiplash, and I think, but kind of what we were speaking to earlier, there should have been about 3 kind of bread and butter like episodes to transition between
the reset,
between like the incredibly dark, premiere and doing something a little bit lighter, a little more frivolous, a little more fun. But I think they probably had to, I don't know, we'll have to see with the next episodes. There's a question, do they have to get it out now? Because they do tend to get more serialized as the season progresses. So this may have been their only opportunity to do kind of a standalone, fun episode that wasn't going to have to be tied into some other bigger arc.
I want to ask Zazie, as the only non-showrunner so far in her career, but that could change someday. I want to ask you, did you feel the same way we all do? Because we're looking at it through a different lens, right? And to me, I'm like, okay, what came after Best of Both Worlds? Family. Probably one of the great episodes in Next Generation history that did a better job of exploring the characters than virtually any episode of that show. So maybe, it's also my Trekspertise that makes me think this as well. How did you feel about it tonally being such a dramatic departure from hegemony?
Well, I feel like those sort of, frivolous, as you said, like these frivolous, silly sort of like filler episodes are almost like a staple of Star Trek, like those Trouble with Tribbles kind of episodes. Stop.
I can't take it anymore. Don't compare that to Trouble with Tribbles. Okay, go on. You can say whatever you want.
No, I mean, I think a really essential part of Star Trek is just when like silliness ensues, So I mean, I don't know about its placement in the season, but I thought that it was, in keeping with that, tradition in Star Trek. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Like
Absolutely.
It was a piece of the action, kind of like in the middle.
Oh, come on, stop! Come on!
We all
We're
just using it. We all agree that that episode does not stand up to
we all
episode.
And I'm never the person really to be the continuity nerd.
Right.
But we got some problems here. We got some problems moving from this episode to Squire of Gothos.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you not remember? Literally.
Yeah, I think regardless of what they say, you have to say Strange New Worlds takes place in whether it's the Kelvin universe or another universe, it's not the same universe as TOS. I don't care what they say. It's not. There's no way to reconcile these shows.
No, I mean, you can't, I think they've done a pretty good job with it until this episode. Yeah. I thought, when I was watching it, I thought, well, maybe they're gonna erase their memories or something, so they won't remember.
Right.
That there was this trickster character who made them do all the stuff, and then their parents came and got them. Maybe they won't remember that.
Right.
But it was, I was really kind of struck by that. It just didn't quite work for me. I just needed just one more thing to happen. Mm-hmm. That I could go, okay, now Squire of Gothos can happen.
It's funny you say erase the memory, because maybe very simple solve to why they don't recognize Trelane a couple of years later. But it also makes me think of the bread and butter episodes of Next Gen that this show, in my opinion, that doesn't seem to do. I look at a middling, not even middling, maybe better than middling Next Gen, Conundrum. Okay, now that episode, I know you're like, what the hell? Because it all had such unmemorable titles. In that episode, the Enterprise, everyone gets amnesia, right? Nobody knows who's in charge. They think Worf's the captain because he has the braids on. And Picard, they think, is an ensign. And it's very clever. And all of a sudden, there's this new character that we've never seen that's second in command, right? And it's all because they're being manipulated by aliens to try, with an inferior technology, to destroy them. It's a very clever premise. It's not the greatest episode. It's not the worst episode. It's just clever sci-fi premise. Straight down the middle. 26 episode season kind of episode.
Yep. Not one of the 5 bad ones.
And whether I like the show or I don't, I'm not going to say, but it feels like that's what's missing from Strange New Worlds.
I don't think they can do it because they only have 10 episodes. They just can't do those episodes where they're not advancing their mythology because you're literally not allowed to do that. And it sucks because I would love to see 26 episodes of this show and see those episodes because I know they would do them and they'd be so much fun.
Well, what's so crazy? I'm sorry, go ahead, Gab.
Even 18, the networks are starting to do 18 now instead of 22.
Yeah,
even 13 I would do,
Yeah.
But what's strange is they filmed 4 on the back of 3. It really could have been a longer season, even if they separated the air dates, right? And even the 5-episode 5th season, so they could say it, is really the end of season 4, right? The 10-episode season. So this whole idea is you could do it, you just choose not to do it.
I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. We're pitching something now, and it is very, what we want to do is we really want to do we've got our mythology, we've got our standalone episodes, and there is that sort of desire for standalone episodes. And for me, the series that is the paradigm for that is X-Files, because they were so good at it for quite a while, doing that. And I just think with these shows, when they're so expensive, it's always about the stakes. Mm-hmm. And they talk about that constantly. It's like, even with this episode, the end of it is that button with Erica, where you're like, oh no,
what's that?
Why, she's not done. So even with that, you still,
which also totally didn't sit well with the rest of the episode.
No, of course.
As a coda.
Yeah, because you're dancing to Wham, which I thought was hilarious. And then
I thought it was hilarious because I could only imagine Rob Burnett watching it at home and he on fire. He probably looked like the guy from Scanners with his head exploding.
Have you talked to him since? Is he okay?
No, I got to talk to him, make sure he's still alive, because I could literally see he may have had an aneurysm seeing his two favorite things, Star Trek and Wham, converge in a hodgepodge of, abhorrence. It was like, I just could see he would be, I can't wait till Comic-Con, if only to find out that Rob is still alive.
Yes.
After that. I mean, just when you thought it couldn't be worse than Discovery having Wycliffe Jean in that otherwise pretty good time travel episode, like having Wham in Strange New Worlds, as though Wham is going to be around in the 23rd century, with all apologies to George Michael and Andrew Ridgeley, not going to happen. We're lucky if the Beatles are around for another generation.
Can I interject just one thing, because I don't want to forget this about this episode.
Oasis will be around, okay, sure.
Yeah, they will. Yes, they will.
I won't even go there. I'll make fun of your favorite show, but I won't make fun of Oasis.
Better not, because there's going to be some ass kicking for you, sir.
Plus, I love Oasis anyway.
Yeah. And
my daughter would disown me.
But I want to do just a shout out, because I have not seen a better episode of television from the side of costumes, hair, and makeup.
Mm-hmm.
It was astonishing what they did in that episode. I'm sure it was ridiculously expensive. But Bernadette Croft is the costume designer. Olga Kiernos is makeup department. And Yasmin Crossdale is also makeup. And then I know I had hair, but I don't have it. And also whoever the key hair is, I could not get over the work that they did coming up with science fiction wedding attire. It was crazy. I've never seen that level before. Do not say Buck Rogers.
No, I'm not going to say Buck Rogers. I want to say this. I'm trying not, I don't want to be critical, but I do want to say this. This is more of a production note than anything. This is not the episode where you want to spend your money. The concept doesn't want, this should be a lower budget bottle show. And the fact that they lavish so much money on the whimsical, frivolous concept, it's like, I get it for the season premiere, right? This episode did not warrant it. So the fact that also, here's the problem shooting in Toronto. You have nowhere to go during the winter. That's why they have to keep everything on the ship, and it's incredibly claustrophobic. In LA, you got the desert, you got, a bunch of futuristic locations you can go to. You got the Pacific Design Center. Back in the days when they shot Next Generation in LA, you could go to Malibu, you could go to, Deep Space Nine, you could go to the beach, it's for there was Palmdale. Toronto, you're pretty much, because of the weather and the lack of locations, stuck in a soundstage or shooting on the volume, and that does not help the show at all, in my opinion.
Well, I will.
And I love Toronto. Don't get me wrong.
I thought it looked amazing. The space, I loved that. I thought that looked
spectacular. And I will also say that if they were in LA, there's zero chance they'd be going anywhere, because it would be even more expensive to shoot.
Well, that's true too. And believe me, I love Canada. I love Toronto. I love you, Canada. We have done you dirty. So this is not a criticism. It's a geographical thing. It's not a cultural thing.
No, but they spent a lot of money on it, but you're doing a wedding, go to town. We're finally seeing people in being dressed up. And I really got the feeling that it was the future.
But if you had your patterned budget and you could only spend this money, is this the episode to do it?
It depends on what else I'm doing the rest of the season. Like, what is my costume budget when everybody's in uniform?
You need it for the big side episodes, not for this.
But this is nothing.
Assuming they do any.
They're hiring that bartender who I'm looking at and I'm saying, how much does that cost every time you walk into
seriously
bar?
Like what is their effects budget versus their costume and hair and makeup budget? Because I'll bet you it's like 5 series worth.
But they're digging in the wrong place, man. It's like, this is not where to output your resources into. Okay,
I didn't think so.
Let's hear what ZAZIE thinks as our sole representative of the viewing public that's not, having horror flashbacks to their TV shows that we've all produced.
Well, I will say that I think that it's going to provide some amazing opportunities for cosplay.
There you go.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. I also think that the best dressed person at the wedding was Uhura, hands down. She looked
God.
amazing.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just became obsessed. I'm gonna go to Comic-Con and find someone who can stick little crystals all over my eyes because I'm
Right?
obsessed with that.
Apparently it's the fashion in
I know. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
I have no comment. Okay. But you know, I'm a William Ware Tice guy, so what do you want from me? Okay, so
I just was struck, but I never am. Like I never really pay that much attention to costumes or hair or makeup. But
no, it's interesting. I got to look at it. I'm going to look at it again. See, this is a good conversation. I want to go back and what?
Chapel's dress was spectacular, and her hair, the way she had like the updo thing.
Oh my God!
They're going to get nominated for.
I mean, for me to notice it.
I love it. Oh my God. Okay, so let's talk about those are the first 2 episodes of the season. We got 8 episodes left. What are your hopes, dreams, aspirations? What do you hope to see this season going forward with the show? What are your worries? What are your concerns? What are your hopes? What are your dreams? We'll start with ZAZIE. Tell us sort of what your hopes for this season, what you expect from the show is.
I don't really know, honestly. I mean, one thing I was thinking about was, the fact that they put the Gorn into hibernation. So I don't know if that's setting up a future episode or potentially a future show. But that's gonna have to circle back at some point, right?
I mean, it's got to circle back with Erica. And also, there was another thing that happened at the end of the wedding episode, because Battelle leaves, like just out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, that's odd that she just turns and leaves. And then the next scene that we have is Erica leaving, and then the Gorn shows up. So are they connected somehow?
Oh, another thing I was thinking about, this is totally independent of that, but are they setting up a romance between Spock and Lon?
Oh, interesting.
I mean, I kind of had that thought too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they dance at the end of the wedding and it's sort of
Yeah,
flirty.
yeah,
I
yeah.
wasn't sure what they were doing with that, but
They both love Wham.
They both love Wham.
Maybe they're just going to be, colleagues or whatever. But poor Spock, like, get him a girlfriend. We got to do something. Poor guy.
I thought the same thing, but then I realized, doesn't she have a crush on Paul Wesley?
He does. But he knows it's not going to happen.
I won't call him Kirk. Doesn't she have a crush on Paul Wesley?
He knows it's not going to happen, though.
I love that relationship, though. I'm like you. I don't really ship. I'm not a big shipper. But yeah, that episode was that was pretty great.
Yeah, she's so crushed.
I know.
Crushed.
I know.
I ship everyone and everything. It takes like I'm like, okay, this is what's gonna happen. But I think, I mean, I love what they do kind of with the characters. It's very like, like YA in a weird way, like the way they just kind of like bring the characters, intersect them in different points and then send them off and then bring them back together again. It's kind of cool. And it's a huge cast. I mean, really, when you look at it, it's a very large cast to service.
And they do, and it's amazing that they're able to do it.
I think that's how they do it, is they just make sure that there's always someone having some kind of emotional drama for the bad, for good or for bad with another character, so you can constantly keep them circling each other. So that's going to be tricky to, keep going.
Yeah.
I don't know, my fear, it's not even a fear, but like the whole Gordon thing is interesting because you feel like the story's over. I kind of thought it was, they've gone into hibernation. The next time we see one, he's standing like on a cliff in Joshua Tree.
Wearing clothes for the first.
Wearing clothes and, and their hibernation, like that whole Klingon thing in Discovery is why it looks so different. And I was like, okay, that's it. We're moving on to like a whole new, like, villain. And so
it's not Joshua Tree. It's Vasquez Rocks. I'm sorry.
Vasquez Rocks. Thank you. Vasquez Rocks. So I'm like, like, are they going to just kind of dribble out the Gorn and bring them back? Which I kind of think is a mistake. I almost felt like it was closed. But then you're kind of worried, like, will the next villain suck? I don't know. You're just always kind of worried about that. And who are they? Like, is it going to be someone totally brand new? Or is it someone else? Yeah.
We still have Cybok.
Still have Cybok.
Yeah.
And they have not done a thing with that since that episode.
Mm-hmm.
So I would really like to see, like, let's do that then.
Yeah.
Cool. And then, so I guess we'll have to revisit this place again to see if they deliver on all these promises and these hopes, the aspirations you have at the end of the season as more episodes air. And then, of course,
I think too that they've been really good about that, really good about not dropping threads or dropping moments. That they will come back to something. So I have no fears because I've loved what they've done so far. And I haven't loved every episode or anything, but that's impossible. And they probably don't love every episode either. A little bit like Noel Gallagher in that way. But I don't have any fears. I'm just really excited to watch the show and see what happens with these characters.
Fantastic. Well, I'm so glad that the four of you came on the show to talk about. We're going to have you back because obviously you have such a passion for the series. And, unlike a lot of people say, I like the show. You actually have really interesting, compelling reasons for why you like the show. So that makes it a lot more interesting, at least for me. So I want to thank everybody for joining us for the celebration of Strange New Worlds, especially Gab Stan, Kay REINDL, and ZAZIE Sales. And if you're a fan of this series, as well as other shows in the Star Trek universe, please join us in Star Trek Las Vegas this August for some amazing panels, including our stage reading this year of War of the Worlds, featuring Eddie James Olmos, Mary McDonald, Brian Austin Green, Trisha Helford, Terry Farrell, Andrew J. Robinson, D. Bradley Baker, Vanessa Marshall, and more. It's going to be awesome.
Got some good news for your ears. More of that good stuff is coming up. And even better news for your hair. The best hair care is at Sephora. They've got all kinds of products for every kind of hair. From brands like Amika, Kerastase, Day, and K18. You knew where to get great audio. Now, you know where to get great hair care, too. Sephora. Good news for great hair. Shop hair care now at Sephora.com.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso Virtuo Coffee Machines. Ready to enjoy the bold flavors of barista-quality Nespresso iced coffee at home? Simply fill a glass with ice and press the brew button on your Virtuo Pop machine to enjoy rich double espressos roasted to stand up even when chilled. Refreshingly bold iced coffee. Refreshingly easy to make at home. Visit Nespresso.com to shop now.
Finding a new job is stressful. But with Indeed, it doesn't have to be. Just fill out your Indeed profile with your skills, experience, and desired salary. The more you fill out, the better your matches will be. And hearing from hiring managers will be 2 times more likely. Relax. That's your Indeed profile sending opportunities your way. Indeed, the world can work better.
That was a little Burnettism in case he's passed.
But wait, you got to see what the dates are. How can
it's going to be rad. That's on August 9th. That's on August 8th, excuse me, Friday, August 8th. Following week, you can join Ashley Miller in San Jose, August 15th to the 17th, or you can come see all the Treksperts in St. Louis, October 10th through the 12th. We'll also, I believe, be in Des Moines, September 12th through the 14th. And Darren Doctorman will be Ticonderoga once again on the fabulous James Cawley sets in Ticonderoga, Ticonderoga, New York, at Trekconderoga, August 15th through the 17th. So that's a lot of traveling. And of course, I want to remind you, Inglorious Treksperts, a production of the Trekspert Podcast Network. Mark Altman, Darren Doctorman, Ashley Miller, who are not present, are executive producers. Peter Holmstrom, Brian Mix are producers. Mark Rivera is our audio sound mixer. John Carney is our social media manager. Isaac Altman is our fantastic researcher. Inglorious Treksperts is copyright 2025 by Treksperts Plus and is available wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also join the continuing conversations about all your favorite Treks and least favorite Treks on the Inglorious Treksperts Discord channel. So check that out on the show notes. It'll give you a link. And I really can't thank you guys enough for being here. This is this was really terrific. It was everything I hoped for and more.
Thank you so much for having me back on the podcast.
Well, absolutely. And will you all promise to come back, or you know? Okay.
As long as Rob isn't here for.
I don't think we'll ever be seeing Rob again. I really think that after he saw Wham in Star Trek and Strange New Worlds, he's gone. He's dead to us. He's gone. There's nothing we can do. So I loved Rob. I'll miss Rob the rest of my life, but I doubt that we'll see the likes of him again. But anyway, so I'll let you take us out. As we say on the show, it's only appropriate since I'm outnumbered here by diehard Strange New Worlds fans. Why don't you give us the outro, Gab?
What's the outro?
Well, you know, that's where I have my little tagline, my little phrase where I say, keep on trekking ingloriously, of course, that thing.
Keep on trekking.
Anyone?
Gloriously.
Of course. Oh my God. This is what you get for missing staff meetings. Anyway, thanks. We'll see you again soon. And thanks for being here. Good night.